Why do you think I wear a hat all the
Right.
time?
Incognito.
Do we have quorum? Shall we start?
that?
Shall we start? Yes.
We're just the liaison. You guys are the board, so.
check that it went live.
Oh, why?
Uh-oh.
See
Mine's
that?
pretty.
We gotta behave. Have to behave ourselves now.
Tissues in this room somewhere, all the way over there. Right, call her, see if they run the real estate things that you don't know.
I don't know who's gonna run the meeting.
Leela's gonna start it.
She's got-
I told her to start it until we see it.
Right.
The nominations. And then-
Right.
There you go. It's a roll call, so you just make sure you check off everybody's here. Now mine's already checked off. And then I have the 2 junior councils are absent.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I want to keep it simple. Okay. Okay. Happy Monday, February 5th. My name is Milu, and we started at officially. Let me check.
They moved the clock to over here.
It's 6:34, and we started from you. Would you please introduce yourself?
Bob Blasko, Blasko.
Sean Yanchuk.
If you can just speak into the microphone, if you need to pull it towards you, that would be great.
Sorry. Sean Yanchuk.
Sherry Hall.
Phil Spawn.
Kevin McGovern.
I'll put it on the floor.
I picked it up like it was mine.
Welcome, and I think we have to do the nomination election for officers.
I nominate you for president. That's a good idea. No? No interest?
At the least you need
Jerry?
a chair and a vice
Wanna
chair.
do it?
And the chair runs the meeting, moves you through the agenda. And the vice chair is the backup in case the chair's not around. It's not a heavy.
Who's the chair?
The vice chair.
There you go.
How's that? Not a bad deal. That's why I spoke up.
But there's no, so are you the only person that has
Yes.
served previously? So the
Yes,
rest of us
I'm
are
the
all
only
new.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I nominated you
For what?
for chair.
I'd be
We
glad
need
to
a
be,
second.
I'd be glad to be vice chair. I mean, tell me what's involved outside.
Sorry, I didn't know you are on the.
Yeah.
So, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh my.
Yes. My name is Maya Simon, and I'm hardly able to understand you at all. That there's a lot of ambient noise, crackles, and whistles, and it's very hard to understand.
Can't understand her either.
Could be her connection.
I think that if somebody turns off their mics while you're not speaking, that might help with the background scatter.
There's this button.
The red button.
Right there.
That probably is a good point. Yeah. See if that's better.
Maya, can you hear a little bit better now that some of the microphones are turned off? No, not really. There's a echo. It sounds like the ocean is in the room.
Yes, I called her. Maybe just hang up and call again. It's not easy to do with the system. Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes you just have a bad connection. With Drew, I expected it, but not with this. Yeah.
I have a second.
So what exactly are the roles of the chair?
When you are speaking, turn the light so
okay,
that it
I'm
turns
sorry.
green.
So what is the chair doing in this team? And it's I think it's a 1 year commitment?
All the terms are 1 year.
You don't wanna do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll vice chair.
I'll do chair.
Do
I
we have
second it.
You can do
Any
vice chair.
objections?
You do vice chair.
Aye.
I don't wanna step on anybody's toes. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to put on the record who made the motion and who seconded it.
I made the motion.
Everyone's talking there.
I made the
Gary
motion.
made the motion,
Yes.
and Kevin is Kevin is chair,
Yes.
and then, Pastor Phil is, I call you Pastor Phil all the time, I'm sorry.
Phil's great.
Phil is vice.
Yes.
Did Maya vote? You can go around and you can have everybody vote.
They all did, but for the Maya, we have her vote too. Ma-
So I don't know what we're voting on.
So, okay, we did vote for, can you hear me?
There's, no, not really. There's squeaks and squeals and it's really impossible. And I have an echo when I,
We apologize, but there's nothing people here can do. Maya, can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay, this is Carol. Nilu went around, she asked who would want to be the chairperson and/or vice chair. We had two people step up. We have Kevin McGovern stepped up as the chairman, and then Phil Spawn has stepped up to be the vice chair. So Nilu is just going to go around and get everybody's vote, yay or nay, if they agree.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all yours.
Before we get any further, it appears that we have everyone except one person that is new on the board. And I would just like to know what our responsibilities are. I realize we're advisory to the council, but I'm uncertain what our responsibilities are and what powers we have, if any. Maybe council people, as well as Carol, can explain that.
Jerry, what I have Parks and Rec Board. The Township Parks and Recreation Board shall consist of 7 members appointed annually. The Township Parks and Rec Board shall make recommendations to the manager concerning the recreation program and facilities and park area acquisition and development. 2 members of the Township Parks and Recreation Board may represent the township on the Hellertown Lower Saucon Joint Recreation Committee. This is all I have, and that's something that was in the past. Correct.
So that's in the code.
That's from the code, correct.
So can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
So basically, you meet once a month, have your organization meeting, which you just went through, you choose a chair and a vice chair. And, the staff prepares the agenda, is that correct, Carol? Depending on what's going on.
And we consult with the chairman.
Okay, so, basically, if you see the updates, that they have the parks, listed. And what do you know? You have responsibilities for the park system that we have in the township. And in the summertime or closer to the spring or whatever, they usually take, this is what they did in the past, I'm not saying you have to do this. They would take turns meeting at the different parks and places just to get a feel for updates, you would discuss and you would, again, vote and make a recommendation to council. So you're a recommending body. You also have to review special event applications. So if a nonprofit or a group of people want to do something, the township has online applications that they have to fill out. And then they submit them, and then the township reviews them, and they have to have insurance and all kinds of stuff like that. And then they present them to you, and then you guys review the application and make, again, a recommendation, because the final step is council. So you would be the recommending body to do that. And then we would have to, we have your new business, select your meeting dates for 2024. And I guess, does that mean, oh, the park meeting locations here, I didn't notice this before. May, June, August, and September, you'll have to pick the park that you want to meet at. And then the township needs that because they have to advertise, because this is a body that's governed by the Sunshine Law. And so your meetings have to be advertised, and the public's invited to come and provide, comment on different, everybody's here except our fine standing officers back there. You would,
I do have a copy in the packet. You probably saw if you went through the packet. I do have a copy of the dates. And then the locations, we, at the last meeting in December, went over locations. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to stick. You can alternate it. They were basing it on what they have done previously, parks that they have seen, what they haven't seen. So like Priscilla said, we would go out to the park, we would meet, talk about, agenda items, and then focus on some of the needs that maybe the park, are lacking, or, and want improvement.
I like the idea. I think it's great to get out. I think it's great to see the parks. I certainly would say I don't know every park, and I think as a committee, that's.
Can you just make sure the mic?
I'm sorry, let me start over. I think it's a great idea. This is Kevin McGovern talking. To go out, to look at the parks and just get a sense of what they're about. I certainly can't sit here and profess that I know every park in the area, so I think it would be a nice opportunity. Would people think that's the right thing to do?
Absolutely.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Sean, you good?
And then when you have a development come through, they have to pay money towards a park open space and rec contribution. So then that'll come before you, and then usually they do it in a radius surrounding where the development's happening to whatever's.
To allocate the recreation fee,
To
yes.
allocate that money to
Yes.
a closest recreation facility, so that, development's kind of slow.
Okay. Do we have a budget? Is there a fund right now that we have allocated to the Parks and Rec?
There is not.
No budget?
Not that I'm aware of. I'll find out. I did ask Kathy last week, and I didn't think that there was a budget that you have.
So there's not like a line in the budget that says Park and Rec upgrades, Park and Rec maintenance that says, okay, we're gonna replace the swings, we're gonna do this year?
You'd have to ask Kathy.
I'll double check with her.
Because there's line items for each of the parks that they should be aware of, like how she breaks it down.
And grant, and we'll go over some grant information that we have in the packet too.
Okay.
When Kathy applies for grants or things that she, sees coming, she'll make us aware of it. And then, something that you would vote on, maybe a play set or, jungle gym or something like that.
So when we meet next time, would it be reasonable to say you and I talk before the meeting, and then we go over that, what I'll call the budget, the line items Priscilla mentioned, and then we bring it back to the group percent ahead of time, and so we're just aware of what the plan is for 2024.
Yeah, I'll find out.
That makes sense to folks?
Technically, the committee doesn't spend money, so you don't really need
Understand.
the budget.
Understand.
But, if there's training sessions or there's a conference that would be relative to the Parks and Rec Board, the township usually pays for educational seminars
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Okay. I just think it would be, I appreciate that. Thank you, Priscilla. I think it'd just be helpful to understand what's allocated this year. So when we go to the park, it's, oh yeah, we talked about that. Or if we're in our travels and we see something that needs repair, we already know it's taken care of.
Can I have a question for clarity here? Is it normal that boards turn over to this extent, that there's not the?
Not that I've seen.
Okay, so this is different. Okay.
Now, Carol,
New way.
Yep. When updates appear on the agenda, do all the parks appear on there? Or just the ones that the manager has interest in or updates on?
All the parks under the updates?
Yes.
That's basically stuff that was carried over, things that we were going through back in December, following up on. There are a couple new things, like movies in the park. That's something that I start working on in January. Township manager thought maybe that the Park and Rec Board would like to get involved with the National Night Out. So those are some things were carried over from last year, and then some new items on there.
If you guys want to have the individual parts and listed every month, that way there could be no updates, or it could be then the township would accommodate.
Just so we know.
Sure.
Would it be best to have members responsible for one park and they can come back and report rather than the manager solely report? I mean, if we had areas of responsibility, say Phil has.
Sandra Yeager, I'll take that number. Sandra Preserve,
Yeah.
I'm there all the time.
Would you think it would be best to have areas of responsibility that someone would oversee it or have a look at it and be able to report back in a timely fashion each month?
I mean, there's not always something going on at every
Well,
park.
certainly
You know,
not.
changes or updates being made at it.
Certainly not. But
I think
at least to have Parks and Rec have a watchful eye and be knowledgeable and not be dependent upon the manager's input.
I like the idea. What are others thinking? Sorry, what do others think?
I like that idea.
We busting up stuff now.
Maya said she liked that idea.
I think it's a good idea. If Phil wants to volunteer for the Yerger Park, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it would probably be good to get a list for next time and then maybe divvy it
I like
up
it.
at the next meeting.
Okay, I would volunteer to go over to Polk Valley. I mean, Yerger's closer, but Polk Valley, my son goes, oh, you may know my son and daughter-in-law if you go over there all the time. I mean, they're over there with a dog constantly. So.
Let's do this. I like the idea. Let's have a list, since I don't know all the parks. I don't know if everybody does. Let's get the list next time. I love the suggestion, great idea. And then if everybody's okay with it, we'll just pick one or two, and at the next meeting, that'll be February, and then March will come back and say, this is what we saw.
Great idea.
And this, I like the idea.
Well, I have a list of what the parks are.
Well, Carol could do that in the interim, in between the meetings, so you'll be ready to do it.
The website has a nice list,
Okay.
and it actually tells you what all the facilities
The amenities.
are at each. So who has what kind of
Okay.
baseball, football, soccer. If they have bathrooms, they have a pavilion, they have swing sets. Like all that info's on the website, tells you the size of the park. So that's a good place to start.
Another thing too, if everybody takes one or two, whatever it is, but then just like you have a chair and a vice chair, if we had somebody to cover, say you have to go away on vacation or family emergency, that way, and there's something going on at that park, you could call your cover and say, can you know,
Help us out.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So next meeting, what we'll do is we'll talk about what the allocation is for funds. We know we don't spend it. We'll review the list of parks, and we'll talk about everyone volunteering for one, maybe two. Go out and look, and then report back and see what they say. Make sense? Okay, so let's go back to the agenda for a second. We have to approve the minutes from December, and it's a little challenging to do since none of us, you were there, maybe?
Yes.
So one person was there, so it's more of a formality. Did you see anything in here that you disagree with?
No.
Not to put you, okay. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Okay.
Or I'll take the motion.
Motion?
Second.
Second, okay. Anybody object?
And that was Nilu second and Phil,
Motion.
Phil was first.
Phil first. Okay.
Nilu was second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have a question.
Aye.
That surprised me.
No, aye. Because I
Okay,
seconded.
we are, okay,
Aye, aye.
then it carries. Wonderful, great.
Mia
Okay.
has a question.
Yeah,
Yes, my question is, how does one get something onto the agenda?
good question. I guess you're gonna send it to me? Okay, we can do that. I can give people, probably the best thing to do is for me to give you I can give you my cell phone number, and you can call me, or you can just text me,
Great.
okay? And I can do that now.
Kevin, what I can do tomorrow, I have everybody's information, so I can send it within the group so everybody knows. You all have your emails. Okay, so I can send that information if you don't mind.
Wonderful.
Great.
True.
Good check, touche. I am better at text and phone calls. My emails I don't check. My personal email I don't check every day. So if you need something urgently, just give me a call. Thank you, Priscilla. Okay. We have no presentations. I'm just reading updates. I did not put this together. It looks like the town hall playground upper equipment is purchased, and it looks like that's going to be installed in 2024.
Yes.
Correct?
I have a picture, a drawing, I think the
Yep.
front and back of it,
Saw
that I
it, yep.
included in your packets.
Looks great.
That is purchased by a grant.
Oh, wonderful. So that'll be done, I assume, this summer?
It will be started and finished. It should be in the summer. It all depends on the time. It'll be, our Public Works will not be installing it, the company. This grant includes the installation.
Okay.
So our Public Works will be putting down the bedding, the mulch, it's not the rubber, I don't believe it's the rubber padding, but there's a padding that they're putting down.
Gotcha. Was the grant, just curious, was the grant recommended or processed through this committee, or was it another committee that asked for it?
It was a grant that Kathy applied for, I believe, Town Hall Park lower level, $100,000, Norco, there was a Norco grant for $100,000. There was $20,000 awarded, and I'm not quite sure who it was from, but it was a 50-50 match. I don't know, Priscilla, if you remember anything.
I know it was broken down, but there's so many grants.
Okay, but this committee didn't.
You were just now quoting,
It's
I thought
totally
you
covered
said,
by the grant.
Okay.
I thought you were just quoting, lower level. This is upper level we're talking about?
No, this is the lower level. If you're out here at the park, there's a fenced-in park. It's not that park. It's underneath the pavilion. If you're going up towards the pavilion, it's on the right-hand side. As you're walking up, that's where they had to take down the playground that was there. It was pretty old. So this is going to go in that place of.
Okay, and we're talking about the upper equipment, because the agenda says upper.
I apologize, and
It should be lower?
it
Not that it matters.
is the
it's
upper. If you're looking at it, it is the upper park.
Okay.
The lower park is already fenced in, and that's complete.
Gotcha.
So I
Okay.
apologize, but yes, it's the upper. It's below the pavilion.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Just for the sake of clarity, Carol, could you explain, what if we look at the diagram of that park, hypothetically, and we recommended, hey, they should have 2 more benches? How would we go about, will we just make it seems like you wouldn't make a recommendation to council for something trivial like that. What would you do?
You would make a recommendation.
Pardon me?
You can make a recommendation.
A recommendation to council?
You would make a recommendation to the manager would put it before council.
Okay. So to Jerry's point, as we go out and we look at our areas, and we say, oh, it'd be nice to have, some more benches at the nature preserve that Phil's gonna look at, we would make that through the town council, the manager of the township, and then she would make the recommendation.
The manager would make the
Manager
recommendation,
Okay,
yes.
all right. Okay. Rail trail bathrooms, awaiting grant approval. Looks like that's gonna be in June. Looks like there's some schematics here.
Question on the rail trail. Are we, is the rail trail under the umbrella of parks, or are they under their own umbrella?
They are under Park and Rec.
They are under
Parks and Rec.
Park and Rec.
For any upgrades, that would go through Park and Rec, and then recommended to council. Well, go to the manager and then recommend it. The manager would recommend to council.
Would that be the same as the Heller Homestead? Are they
That's considered a park, yes.
considered park? So what would they do? Would they come to us, or would they go directly to the manager?
As far as, you need something or a record?
Yeah, well, yeah, would they go to us and say, hey, we need this or that, we would like to see this at the Heller Homestead? Would they come to us, or would they go directly to the manager? Would we approve it, I guess is my question.
I can try to address that.
Okay, that would be helpful for me.
The Heller Homestead Park is a 14-acre park. It's divided into two parcels. The part on Greensboro Road is 2.2 acres, if my memory serves me, and that is the historic site. And then beyond there for the next 10 acres or whatever is paths and whatever. So they might be in need, they might be in disrepair, I don't know, I haven't walked out that way. But there's two trails that I remember that are out there. So that would be under your umbrella for the Parks and Rec. The 2.2-acre part is leased by the Saucon Valley Conservancy. They have so many years lease. And the township is responsible for all repairs. So if they see something that's not to speed, whatever, they contact the manager, and the manager sees that the repair is fixed. On the other hand, if you're walking around the whole park and see something that's, should be brought to somebody's attention, please do so.
So the inside and the outside of the buildings are the conservancy, and they bring that to the manager. Outside that, if you want to say park area, would be if you want another bench put in there, or yes, that's township, and something that would be recommended to the manager, then put on to council or in front of council.
And they do have lawn cutting, I think that people come in, repay lawn
Yes.
company to cut the grass.
On a weekly basis, yes.
And the township plows it.
Yes.
Jerry, did that answer your question? Makes sense, okay. Okay,
That's the only part the township plows.
Poke Valley, Poke Valley,
Maybe, but the dog park, yeah.
Steel City Park, yeah, I think they do all the parks.
okay. Easton Ball Field is noted here.
Easton Ballfield, I don't have any information there. I wasn't able to sit down and talk to Mark about information, so I can put that on the next agenda and have some information for you.
Sure.
That'll be helpful.
Okay. See the construction.
It's under construction.
Ongoing, yeah. Ongoing.
Is that target date still for the spring?
As far as I know.
You gotta chop wood.
I didn't hear the question.
Is the target date still the spring of 2024?
I haven't heard differently.
I think that's the reason why they went to sod, if I remember going over some, because that way they could get it in, water it for a week, I'm gonna say, and then it would be good to go. Otherwise, you have to continually water to get the grass up and take.
You have a good memory, Bob. Yes.
Yeah, but they're going through some problems out there as it relates to the springs that are in the outfield. And I know when I was out there a number of times, they were working on a drainage field.
Can you just turn the mic on, Jerry? I can hear you, but I just,
Oh.
if you put it towards you that way, I'll be able to hear it later.
I know they were having some drainage problems out there as it relates to springs they were hitting. And they were putting some piping in. I wasn't out there recently, but the last time it was before the snowfall. And I was talking to the engineer that was doing the job, and he expressed concerns about that and said it was gonna take a while, and I would imagine it's probably taken a longer time now that we had all of that snow. That's why I'm not quite sure if it's a spring.
Yeah, one might have hoped that identifying there were springs in that area would have been done before they started building the ball field.
Well, it wasn't.
Right.
Okay, so maybe at the next meeting, we can get an update on just the progress, just where we are. Okay. Any other questions on the ball field? Okay, pickleball courts at Polk Valley, construction has started, it looks like. That's great. It's America's most popular sport now, right?
Okay. That's interesting you mentioned that, Phil, only because I think in my mind, this is probably one of the best programs that the township is undertaking. And what is it, 3 courts out there,
Four.
Carol, or 2? 4.
4.
And that's gonna be well received. My concerns are, how are they gonna share those courts as it relates to people that are coming and wanna use the courts? Because you're gonna have a cross-section of demographics that are gonna be using this. Everyone from children all the way up to seniors. And I'd imagine that seniors are gonna be received on that court a lot more than any other group of people. How are they gonna time that? How are they gonna time that? Are they gonna say, when you walk on, you can play for an hour? Or if you walk on, you can play for a half hour?
I belong to several of the gun clubs in the area, and I know at Easton Fish and Game, if there are people there that come in behind you, they have a time limit posted, and it's right in the rules for that. So if the board wanted to do something like that, I mean, I don't know how long it takes to play a game, like depending how old you are, how well you do or don't move around, you know, but I think we could come up with probably a reasonable time limit and post a sign and say, hey, look, if there are people waiting to get on the court, you know, you have half an hour, whatever it is. After that, please clear the court, be polite, be courteous, and allow the next person to get on the court.
That's fair, Bob. It's a good question.
Does anybody here play pickleball? Would you have any idea? Do you?
Yeah. I played down with my sister who belongs to a community, it's a community one, and they're on the hour, and it's 1 hour. But I'm sure there's other communities that do it differently, but that's an easy thing to, easy to research. But, and if no one's there, then you can keep playing.
Right.
But if people are waiting, you know, 1 hour is plenty for, right.
So maybe you want to recommend a board or something with
Yes.
rules and regulations
Definitely
on it?
would need, you should have that, yeah.
You need some kind of sign-in mechanism. Say I got here at 3 o'clock, maybe sign in some kind of board. I'm not quite sure. Do they have anything like that?
The sign-in idea is more legwork, you know, but people know that it runs on an hour. So if you get there, first people there at 1 o'clock. If people are playing at 12:30 and you're the second or third team to show up, you may not get that one court. But if you have, there's 4 courts. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be that big of a problem.
Another way might be to handle it too, would be to have a sign-up sheet. Sign in, there's your time. If you're there at 12:30, another couple shows up or, you know, that needs the court or whatever, they know that they can get on, they can look in the register then and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we go get a coat, we'll come back, you know, whatever. At 1:30, we know the court will be free. One of us stay here, make sure we get on.
And I belong to Bethlehem Township Community Center, and they have free play, and people work in the morning from 7 to 8:30 in the morning. They do it, and they're working people in all the time. It is an older crowd, so they like to take a little few breaks every once in a while.
It's a good game. Okay. Any more discussion on the pickleball courts? All right, and so it looks like we have movies in the park, tentative dates, and these are in the brochure. It looks like June 30th.
That's a sample from last year,
Oh,
just
this
to
is
give you
last
an
year's. Oh, I'm
idea
sorry.
of the movies that we
thank you.
generally have.
I saw in the minutes, so there was a drop in attendance from 2022 to 2023, was that correct?
There was a drop in attendance. We had a, I do a survey every year in February. And then we have residents vote on different movies. They have 3 movies, they pick one. So last year, I think Goonies was the second one, and that was at Steel City. We do everything through Facebook or Constant Contact to get the word out. So some of the parks are, have a lot of, we have a lot of kids around this park for town hall, and we had the least attendance. And the year prior to that, we had 110 people.
Yeah,
At the end of the movie, it was like 120. So we had a lot of people here the year before, but this year, I think we were working against a few different things. We were, there was a time change or a date change. We usually get the big screens donated, so it's at will. If he doesn't have any business, he'll donate it for a certain day. So the date that came up, he was busy, so we had to change it. So I don't know if it was the change of date, if it was that it was still like 90 degrees that night. It was very hot.
yeah.
It was Music Fest. So there were a few things. Like I said, we didn't, the first week, that we had it scheduled, it wasn't Music Fest. And, it was later. Was it, like a week before school? I don't know what it was. But that was the least attended movie. All the movies that we generally do are PG or G, which attracts all the little kids, which is awesome. Goonies at Steel City, it was an older movie, so I don't know if that was one thing. I mean, at the end of the night, we ended up with more people there because they can walk and they can hear what's going on with the speakers. So I don't know.
And do they do food trucks or anything like that?
The Steel City one, I actually, I got donation. I had over, I think it was $3,000 in donations, which I can't guarantee that we'll get this year, but we did get an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And had it at a reduced rate.
Great,
So
that's great, great.
residents were very happy.
Yeah.
But we only did that at Steel City, so, it all depends.
And who sets up? Do we as a committee set this up, or?
In the past, I mean, I've been doing the survey, pick the movie,
Great.
the
No,
residents
that's fine.
pick the movie, and, I
Great.
need help. I can't, Mark and I showed up for every, event, so it's kind of hard to do with 2 people.
Gotcha.
So I would appreciate, we have a popcorn machine that we bought last year with our donation, so, somebody's doing that, and, we have treat bags for the kids, to give out and stuff, so just looking for some help with that, and trying to get Parks and Rec back into doing more community-oriented events.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to do.
It is,
Great
it's
thing to
fun.
do.
Residents love it,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's
it's
great.
free.
You're gonna do it again this year? Yes?
We're
Yeah.
planning on
That's a
it.
great idea, yeah.
Okay.
You have 3 days
3 dates. And this year, I think
at 3 different locations.
3 different locations, 3 parks. They seem to work. Those parks seem to work. Steel City, like I said, is a great location because everybody can hear what's going on, and they just end up walking down. But
So town hall, and where's the other one?
Steel City, Town Hall, and Poke Valley. Yeah.
Great
So
thing to
if
do.
anybody has any ideas, I'll put the survey out. I have it ready to go. I'll put it out this month. If you have any ideas and want to keep, give me ideas to, organize things or, want to help, that would be great. But I just put that flyer in there as an example from last year,
I
just to
love
give
it.
you an idea.
Well done. All right, Carol, very good.
I have a question.
Maybe a little bit of a later start time, so it's a little darker out than 7 o'clock.
The screen that we get, it's like a movie, it's like a TV.
Because I went down, I walked down and I saw it, it was kind of hard to see.
Which one, which park?
The Steel City one.
Steel City, okay. We had it facing, I think we were in the sun, but the sun was going down, because I know what you're talking about. That the issue with going later than 7 o'clock are
Noise or?
kids, little
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
So, I mean, we can try that and see if that makes a difference.
Something to consider.
Or aim at a different direction?
Yeah. that
Well,
might
we
be-
had it in a
You
different
could put
direction
that
the
on
year
your
before,
survey.
but with Steel City, we had all the wires down in front of it. I don't know if you were there the year before.
No, I was just walking by, just passing by.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had wires hanging down in front of it, so, the, gentleman who we get the donation from moved the truck in a different direction, thinking we wouldn't have the view of the wires in front of the screen. So, something that we changed.
So, Carol,
Yes.
you might, in your survey, add whether people
I can do that.
would be okay starting at a different time, or, you know, let them choose, get a survey of 6:30, 7:30, and see how many people want what.
I can do that.
Good suggestion, Maya.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
That was good. Okay. Looks like we're asking for volunteers to help National Night Out on August 6th. So we have some time for that. That's something we want to keep in front of us. Special event application, Saucon Valley Lacrosse Day, May 4th. Anything we have to do with this?
The special event application, you just have to look it over if you have any suggestions on the application itself. I know that, did I put in there? I have some suggestions that I just received. I didn't receive it in time, but I can definitely read it. From some of them are other areas that this gets sent to. It gets sent to the police department, to the zoning department, public works, our fire marshal, and our emergency management coordinator. So they had some comments. Some of the comments were, since the event is going to be hosted outside and it's going to be at Polk Valley Park, we have to be careful of the weather. So we have to let them know that this is a weather permitted event, that if it's raining, obviously it has to be canceled or postponed. We take care of our fields and we don't want to damage them. So that's one recommendation. Another was concerns on parking. We don't allow people to park on the sides when you're driving up to Polk Valley. There is green grass, there's a path on one side and there's grass on the other. So that's something that's noted for them and that they have to maintain and police themselves.
Okay.
We don't expect our police officers to go out there and, ticket everybody.
But what's the maximum parking in that whole complex?
Well, we've already had overflow parking for this event in years previous, and we've had them park over underneath the dog park.
Yeah.
And they have to also police that and make sure people are parking. The event isn't proposed to be that big as it has in the past, so we're just concerned. I don't know what the maximum parking is up there, the limit. I know there's a lot of parking above, there's parking below.
Mm-hmm.
But, we want to make sure that people aren't parking on this side. So maybe that's a recommendation that you can say, if they want to use overflow parking, they can use, they have to have it policed themselves and have parking, have somebody park people underneath the dog park, that area that had been used in the past. And, they can cone it so that people know that they can go there, have somebody with signs. I mean, that's an idea. But it's not proposed to be as big as it had been in the past. I saw the numbers. I don't think it's.
And on that Saturday in May, you're telling me no one else is using that field?
Well, for special events, we would block it off for them.
Okay.
because we wouldn't want to have baseball, and that's been done in the past too. Special events, we give priority to that entity that wants to do something.
How do we make sure, to your point, that if we were gonna say yes to this in May, that there's already not a big baseball event going on, or that's the first day
We get all the
of-
applications ahead of time, or not applications, but we get all the requests for the fields.
Okay.
So this is something that we're getting in enough time when they actually turn in their requests in March. We already know this, so we're gonna say, okay, on May 4th, you know,
No games?
games.
Gotcha, okay.
It's on the
Please plan
first come,
ahead.
first served basis.
The
no.
parks, like baseball, we generally for the youth sports, they come in and they give their requests, and then we block it off. Any outside organizations would have to pay, and it would be on an open calendar basis. So if the park's not being used at that time, and there's availability, then they would be able to put in an application for that time frame.
So then for like a ball team to come in and say, we have that early enough to know what dates are available then?
Correct.
Okay. So our role is to approve this.
Yes. Or give recommendations.
Recommendations, okay. So we talked about the parking. Any other discussion on this? Any other recommendations? Yes, sir?
I see a note here, fee, security deposit, insurance required. It says down here, still waiting on insurance.
It came in yesterday, or not yesterday, today, this morning it was sent out. It came in over the weekend. They have a time frame. That's why we ask them to send their information 60 days in advance, so that we can pull everything in, but sometimes like the insurance isn't ready and then they send it in later. So it definitely wouldn't go any further if we would never receive that. I mean, that's something that Rachel follows up on and makes sure that we have everything, but it did get sent out today to all the other entities.
That explains the 2-5 date on the approval.
Any other questions, discussion, comments? May I?
Carol, just overlooking this map here, it's off the subject matter while everybody's looking at that. What are those 2 baseball fields used for? Are those used for youth sports?
They are.
Coach
They're
Allen?
used for the Little League.
So that's Little League, so obviously they have those booked for the season, right?
They have it for what?
They obviously have those for the season.
Generally, they do request them for the season, yes. On certain days, sometimes soccer will come through and they'll ask for, they use the field. They don't use the infield, they use the outfield for their younger kids to practice on. So it's shared on some days, or well, not shared, but it's maybe Monday through Friday, baseball will use it, and then Saturday and Sunday, soccer will use it. It all depends on the season, if it's fall soccer or spring soccer. We have it
So
down
what
pat that
I
we have
hear
people come in on a,
is that
regular
there's
basis.
an existing process for booking these things and that we don't need to reinvent it.
No, we have that pretty much down pat. Yes. People get their information, Rachel sends it out in the beginning of January to the Conservancy, to baseball, to soccer, to lacrosse. Anybody who's hosting a special event and or using the fields, they get the information ahead of time. And that way we can be prepared in March to go ahead and assign fields to those asking. So it would be March, April, May, June would be one season. And then over the summer, we have like smaller requests, and then we start back up in fall again. So usually the same groups.
And these applications are online for your people to look at if you're questioning, like, what do they ask for? There's 2 of them.
Okay.
Special events, and what's the other one?
Ball field, and or like pavilion rental. You'll see a pavilion rental form in there too. Yeah, those applications are all online. They're not taken overline. You can't request them online.
That they are
You
put
can
online.
get the forms are online, but you actually have to come in and pay the fees if the fees are applicable.
Jerry, you good?
Carol, where we're looking at that map, where is the courts gonna be? Are they gonna be up by the parking lot?
When you go into Polk Valley Park and you're driving up the drive all the way up to the top, over on the left-hand side, across from the dog park, I believe it is. There's a wooded area that you're gonna pass on your way up to the parking area. It's over there. You'll see it right there.
Are you talking about the overflow parking at the dog park?
No, are you talking about pickleball?
Pickleball, yeah.
Pickleball is when you're going up the hill, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay, you're going up the hill here, yeah.
And then it's
Before the turn?
right before the bend to go to the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's where pickleball is. They've already leveled it and laid some gravel there.
But people are expected to park in the main parking lot up top.
Main parking lot up on the top. There is some across from the dog park. There's a smaller parking area, and then down below, if you're going in, it's off to the left-hand side right away, I think, and then you go to the back, and there's a parking area down there too.
On the pickleball.
Porta potties at, I think, every level.
Is the pickleball gonna be a lit field or lit court?
It's not gonna be lit as of now.
They close at dusk, don't they? Polk Valley closes.
It closes, yes. There is no lighting there currently.
Does that mean all parks close at dusk?
Dawn to dusk.
Well, why is it we have lights in the back for softball fields? That's
Here
not-
at Town Hall, this is
Yeah.
the only field that has lights
Oh, okay.
currently.
That's the exception to it.
Currently.
And the ballpark is supposed to have.
I was
The
gonna say,
baseball
field
field,
will have lights.
that will.
Have lights, right? Yep.
Do they use these lights here? I mean, after
Yes.
dark, they do play here?
This is a popular field because of the lights.
Okay.
Our basketball court has lights as well. They're on a timer.
Another lights.
And I know previously someone had mentioned about bringing lights at Polk Valley because of safety issues.
Because of what?
Safety issues when picking up your child.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. So I don't know if that'll be mentioned in the future, but it was mentioned in the past.
Okay. Any other discussion on the application? Okay. We're good? Everyone good with it?
Yes.
Maya, you good?
Yes.
Yeah, you good? Okay, everybody's good? Jer? Okay, we'll approve that. Okay, we have a list of meeting dates.
You know, just one quick question about that approval. Once the applications are received, you send it out to all the other agencies and they raise flags before it would even come here to this board.
They do, well, that's how it turns out. It turned out with the time frame that it came in, it went before them first because it didn't meet until February, so, but the application, I don't know if it went to council. I don't think it went to council yet. So council will have the final say. So if you have any recommendations, now is the time to get those recommendations. And if not, then that's okay.
You
I
think
think it was addressed, it's okay.
I think that's a lot of bureaucracy.
All right, I'm with you, okay. So we have a list of meeting dates in 2024. We can, as the year goes on, things come up. We can look at changing these if, something happens. We have a lot of people that can't make the meetings, but looking at this, it seems like this works out. And again, once we reconvene and talk about the parks, I love the idea of meeting at the park. I think that's really cool. If somebody says, no, I don't want to meet at Kingston Park, I want to meet here, we can all be open to that, I think. So, questions on the schedule?
If you change the location of the park, you need to tell the township because they advertise.
Yeah, this will go for advertising, after the meeting here.
Makes sense. And everybody okay with this? Mia, you're okay with this? The dates?
Yes, from me.
Okay. All right, very good. I'm good. Okay. We don't.
In noting last year, going through agendas and minutes, there are quite a few meetings that did not occur last year. Is that because of lack of business or a lack of a quorum?
So, I don't know, Park and Rec met,
The second, the third month, the fourth month?
there are only
fifth
two
month?
times a year that they don't meet, in January and July.
But I think there were 2 additional last year, I think. It looks like she's
I
ready
think
to.
it was both.
June,
And we have
July.
at least one, we didn't have enough business, so we didn't have
Yeah,
a
that
meeting.
was it, 2 times, that was it. They met every other time.
It was business, not the quorum, yes.
We don't have our junior council members here, so we'll pass on that. Any other business that we want to talk about tonight? Any concerns, suggestions?
I have a question. And I haven't been up to the Sandra Yerger Park for 2 years now. But there is at least one, possibly 2 ponds, if I remember correctly, in that park.
Sure.
Okay, my question is, at the time I was there, I saw no paths going down to or around the ponds. Would it be possible to get paths down into and around the ponds so that local guys could take their kids or grandkids there and throw in a line and catch a fish or 2 maybe?
Like there's a handicap access at one of the ponds.
Okay,
And there are trails close enough. I think it would be more of a liability, and I fish and I don't know if it's at this point worth it. I mean, they're becoming overgrown. They're not maintained and as far as I know, they probably were constructed with the golf course, so they weren't there naturally.
yeah, I would imagine they were, yeah.
But, I find them easy, you can easily get in them.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, because when I went in, I had my granddaughter, of course, so we're going in on that macadam path and more or less
Yeah.
staying on that. But I don't recall is there a path from that macadam path down into there? Or
The
is it?
macadam paths skirt just the outside of the pond that you could see, that you could, bushwhack or whatever, 10 yards, 20 yards and get to the pond.
Okay, I'll have to
Or
check it
ponds.
out again. Thank you.
Let us know what you catch.
Yeah, let me know.
Put that on the agenda.
Besides wet feet in the cold,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Yardstick with you.
Anything else that we want to talk about tonight, folks? All right, we're off to a good start.
Good.
All leaving as friends? All right, very good. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with everybody.
I hope you feel better.
Maya, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Good job. Thank you very much.
We almost made it 4 years without getting COVID, but now we both have it.
Well, drink lots of liquids.
Mhm.
I had it right down to
There.
the park. Right there.
Thanks for accommodating me.
Farm,
No
the
problem.
farm, you go down Lower Saucon, and,
All right, I look
right on the
forward to
farm.
being part of this.
That's a nice park up there.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Nice park.
It's the only park I haven't been to.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's just beautiful. I mean, the different seasons are just gorgeous.
And a
And
lot of.
snowshoeing and cross-country skiing.